Hello, hello, hello. I signed on about 5 minutes early, so if anybody's in here, welcome. Francisco, if you're here, thanks for coming. Oops, caught me. Oh, well, I can fix that if you want one. We can do that while nobody's around. I'll put it in Insta. Grape soda. Well, no, you're going to get it now whether you want it or not. That is, if I can find you. How can you pay that far down my list? Hmm. Well, look at the thumbnail. Or hang around a few minutes and I'll tell you. Well, there's Michelle. I mean her page, but I can't find you. All right. Hello, Brenda Pruitt. Keep Garrett entertained there for a minute. Hey, Doug, welcome. Garrett, send me something on Instagram and I'll send you something back. Will that work? For some reason I can't find your Instagram or anybody that's got Garrett's Instagram. Send it to me. Maybe. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is it. All right. I sent it to you. If you don't want it, ignore it. Or if you don't get it, I don't know. Blame me later. Who have I missed? There, see, I've said hi to Doug and Francisco and Garrett and Brenda. Oops, I got to turn that echo off. Why didn't you tell me to do that, Garrett? Hey, Tina. Okay. Well, I know you're out there. Where is Mike C? I don't know. I don't know if he was going to be here tonight or not. Usually I get something from him. Well, let me go back and look and check his messages, see if I got anything from him. Don't appear to have. No, I don't see anything. I don't know. Maybe they're not going to be here. Well, I hope they are. Hey, Dave. Welcome in. Space Mountain Dave Cantrell is with us, folks. Oh, shoot. I got to turn this off. Okay. I just thought of something and now I've lost it. Bear with me, guys. I'm just my brain's rattling around a little bit, so. What was I going to do? Oh, I know what I was going to do. If I've got a picture of it, I'll share it. Hang on. Bear with me. Yeah, if I didn't want my phone to connect with the computer, it would just, aggravate me all the time, probably. But when I do want it to, it never seems to, I can never figure it out. And why is that, you say? Well, just cause I'm that way. Well, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'll have to go get a picture. You messaged Mike last night to make sure they were okay since the fires. Said they were good, just really busy. They may be too busy to be. I can't remember if they've already. Oh, there's Mike right there. Some exciting things happening up that way besides the fires. But I'll let them tell it. Everybody probably knows it anyway. Oh, that's good to know, Garrett. Did you have to make bail in American dollars or Canadian dollars? I'll pitch in to help if he's in jail, but depends on how much it is. That's perfect. Oh, yeah, I got it. I got the perfect thing. And I'm going to put it up and share here just as soon as I get it. Okay, let me see here. I got to show her, but I got to see if I can't bring something up to show. And you may just, and then I'm going to try to get started here just in a moment. But this is kind of big news. Okay, I'm going to see if I can share this photo. And just as we're talking here for a moment. Why isn't that in there? There. Well, that's not exactly how I wanted it to show up, but maybe I can make it. But there we go. Can you see that at all? If you look closely there over Proud Papa's left shoulder there, you'll see the new foal, the filly. Okay, so if you don't know, Mark Smear had a little filly girl colt or foal. Keep saying colt, technically that's wrong. No, that's not me, Garrett. That's Mark. We just share some traits. He has officially named her because one of his granddaughters had a say in it. Hermione, ever how you say it. Ham's Fork Luna. And she's to be called Luna. And that's because she was born on the night of the full moon or the strawberry moon. And the fact that when Mark's been up with her every night for the last week and a half, and when the full moon's full, he doesn't sleep very good anyway. So he thinks he's a lunatic. So that being said, he named her Luna. And so far, she's just a perfect little girl. Hermione. Well, that's what I say, but I thought somebody tried to put an extra vowel in there somewhere. Hermione, I can say. Wait a minute, where'd you? Hermione, yeah. Hey, Diana. Oh, what you making noise about? Anyway, I thought I'd throw that up there. Mark's not with us, but I can show off his. No, it's Hermione Ham's Fork. Maybe Ham's Forks Luna. I'm not sure how naming horses works. You know how it was when we did dogs. It was, Pruitt's Jasper Nubbins or, that sort of thing. The Ham's Fork part goes in the middle. And it's one word. Well, I don't know about that. I can't. It seems like on the map, so it is. Actually, Mark was hoping for a little stud colt. He wanted a gelding to ride, as his gets older. This mare is his youngest mare. She's about 7, and her name is Bobby Socks. And her sister, which is his favorite horse, her name is Honeycomb, and she's about 9 or so, 10 maybe. He hasn't bred her. He may after this one's all said and done if everything works out. But the case of this one, these are registered bloodline Morgan horses of the official U.S. lineage kind of thing, and he got both of the mares from a rancher. They live not too far away, and by that I mean probably less than 100 miles. And so Mark had asked him. He had a Morgan stud, And Mark wanted to breed one of his mares, so he'd asked that if he ever bred his mares, he wanted to, because he had a really good looking stud horse. And so they mated Honeycomb, or not Honeycomb, but Bobby Sox and that horse whose name I don't know. And now he has a beautiful little filly colt, or foal. I watched Teddy get, oh, Teddy, Mama's telling on you. Yeah, she got to witness Teddy in all his laziness glory. Oh, that's cool, Tina. Some of you probably remember the Disney show. Justin Morgan had a horse, or Justin Morgan and his horse. I can't remember how it went, but the original Morgan horse, of course, that's a Disney story in their sense, but it's a true story. Justin Morgan bred the first Morgans, and anyway, and they're just really cool horses. And I guess Mark's had a couple, maybe a couple of other ones. And ever since I saw that Disney program, probably back in the 70s, I've wanted a Morgan horse. But I actually didn't grow up around people that had Morgans. All my kinfolk that had horses had either walking horses or some other form of gaited horse. But Morgans are cool. They ride well, they sit well, they're smart, they're strong, pretty quick when they need to be. His other horse is he uses her as a cutting horse when they're working cattle because she's really good at cutting. And if you know what that is, if you don't know where that is, I'll explain it. That's where the rider and the horse, they'll go into a herd, or say a pen of calves that they need to pick one out to say have medical attention or be branded, or turned into a less rowdy boy. Let's just say. Anyway, you use a cutting horse to go in there and work around that horse, and they're kind of like a dog, a herding dog, but it's a horse, and they bounce back and forth on they're amazing to watch. If you ever want to see that like that, just look up cutting horses. Oh, is Doug got to go? All right, Doug, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you coming in. Hey, Carol, I didn't say hi to you, I don't believe. I knew I missed somebody. Yeah, they bring a lot of money too, Tina, out there. If you're in the country where that kind of thing's important, they can bring quite a bit of money. But he'll never sell her unless I don't know what he'd take for him to do that, because he's like me. He's too fond of his stuff. he didn't get her to sell. He got her to ride and keep. Mortally Bane. Hey, what do you think of the rapper Nika? Well, we think nothing at all of the rapper Nika. I don't even know who that is. How about anybody else? Do you guys like the rapper Nika? So, Mike and Diane, tell us about maybe he'll come back, Carol. I did that, so if anybody wonders, I wasn't sure. I had bought on my mind. Diane and Carol, tell us about the big news at your house this past week. Yeah, me either, Tina. I don't think he plays for any I don't think he's a folk musician. I've never seen him play with El Cid or Reina del Cid. Well, about Alex's achievement, is that secret? If I spoil something? Apparently, it's not big news at all, so never mind. I am presenting myself. Well, I just wanted that to be on there for those who are interested, Garrett. That's why. But I'm back. Yes, he got to fly a glider over the weekend. And I'm going to. So, Mama said she might have been a little nervous. How about Dad? Maybe I should invite him on. He'd probably be more talkative about it than you guys. Cool for him, scary for you. So, Dad weighed in on this. How'd you feel about it? I think it's really cool. Flying a glider or something else I always wanted to. I always thought it'd be a good way to learn to fly, and you can start flying a glider when you're like 14 down here anyway. Dad was nervous too. Okay. Dad, how long was he up? Do you know the duration? Okay, and while Diana's thinking about that, I'll ask my next. It should be Disney trivia night. How many saw the Walt Disney episode where called? I think it was He Soared with Condors. 15 minutes. Well, that's not too long. It's probably pretty much up and back. Can anybody hook me up with a ride on an F-15 fighter jet? Certainly would love to take it. That's the first I've heard of that. Just to put that out there. Would you be? How would you feel about me upping your life insurance? Maybe before you did that, and then I'd be all for it. I'm going to move on here and get plumb out of this topic. But I just thought of something. Garrett, you told me to present myself, but you never present yourself. A little bit, I would say pot calling the kettle black, but I'm not even sure that fits. Tom Cruise give free rides. That's, I don't even know if he's got an F-15 or not. Although maybe he does. He's got the money, I guess. Okay, I don't know why. And never mind. All right, I'm going to go off the screen again, Garrett, because I'm going to put up my usual Tuesday night stuff. And so away we go. I'm gonna get started because sorry, I wouldn't ride in a car with him, let alone a jet. All hand is all things. I work in mysterious. Oh yeah, my hand is in all things. You work in mysterious ways. I got you. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to set up. And if it gets bad, I will let you know. I added a cushion before I sat down, so maybe I'll be okay. Someone amongst our following here, the flock, pardon me, got me thinking about something this week. So I thought I would throw it out there, and it's probably about as controversial as I have gotten so far, or it might be, might not be. So I thought I would bring it. Oh, Timothy, you know I would do it. Oh, I know you would do it. I know you would. I probably would too, for that matter. But you would love it. I've done some things on airplanes you hadn't done though. I kind of got burnt out on them to a degree. Oh, hang on a minute, guys. My nose is running like a sugar tree tonight. So, anyway, tonight's topic is, shall we pray or not? And this has come up several times and things. This is actually a topic I've talked about, thought about, followed in some corners for a while. And I'm going to miss things. I'm not going to say everything I should say, or probably say some things I shouldn't say. But I'm just going to go over some things briefly. And then I would like for everybody to give me an opinion. And this is not about picking out who does what and who doesn't do what. And as I hope you know and realize. And just to make sure we all stay on the same page, I'm going to show the rules again. So if you would, please consider hitting that like button. And if you don't like tonight's topic, hit the dislike button. Subscribing to the channel if you feel like there's content here you might enjoy. Or if you just want a Saturday morning laugh. And leave a comment. Because apparently that does something on YouTube. I don't know. I don't understand all that stuff. And Lord knows I'm not trying to earn a living doing this. I'd damn sure be broke. Okay. And these are our rules. First thing at the top is we respect each other. No fighting. You will be kicked out of the chat room. Everybody in here just about to mod. Everybody except Brenda. Brenda's the only person in here probably that can't kick somebody else out. All topics, even religion and politics, the two subjects I have always been advised to avoid, and that's true, will be open for some discussion, but must be within the above rules. I ask that you come in with an open mind, and I may ask for volunteers to mediate at times, or just maybe if needed, maintain civil discussion and order. We've pretty much handled that so far. And anyone in the chat or on live will be allowed to speak without being talked over. I expect honesty, or I try to give honesty. So we're not trying to invade anybody's privacy. And if anybody does so, violators will be reported to YouTube or whoever does that kind of stuff and banned from the chat. And there will be no attempts to intimidate each other, or that will not be tolerated. Okay, Garrett, you got to back me up. You said, ha ha, Tim, me too, but now I don't know what me too is. What are you tooing also? I'll leave those up there for a minute in case anybody else wants to read them. Get their own interpretation, but in the end, it's my interpretation on the rules that matters. Boy, I sound bad, don't I? Okay. I have a couple more things I want to go over, and then I want to open up to anybody who wants to talk. And also don't know where Canadian laws and such fall on this, so I have to bow to Diana and Mike to fill me in that regard if anything's different or the same. And this is, I want to talk a little bit just for a minute, and I know there's different interpretations of some of this, but this is the basic points about our First Amendment and the freedom of religion in this country as it was established. And was I covering my eyes? I don't know, was I? First Amendment has two provisions concerning religion: the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause, basically. The original text says just basically something about freedom of religion, but it doesn't go into much detail. And honestly, the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause doesn't go into a lot of detail either. But it does say a couple of what I think are important topics. One, the Establishment Clause prohibits the government from establishing a religion. The precise definition of establishment is not totally clear. Historically, it meant prohibiting state-sponsored churches, such as the Church of England, for example, who's always had their fingers in all kinds of politics, and other churches too in different countries. The Middle East, for example. Today, what constitutes an establishment of religion is often governed under the three-part test set forth by the U.S. Supreme Court in Lemon versus Kurtzman, 1971. I thought this was ironic, under the Lemon test, so I guess some people might think it's sour, government can assist religion only if the primary purpose of the assistance is secular. The assistance must neither promote nor inhibit religion, and there is no excessive entanglement between the church and the state. The Free Exercise Clause protects citizens' right to practice their religion as they please, so long as the practice does not run afoul with a public morals or a compelling governmental interest. For instance, and the one they pointed out, I kind of thought was a touchy one, but it's what was quoted in this, and I do know this has been a key issue. Prince versus Massachusetts in 1944. And I looked it up. I can't tell if this has ever been overridden. I'm not sure, but I didn't find it. The Supreme Court held that a state could force the inoculation of children whose parents would not allow such action for religious reasons. The court held that the state had an overriding interest in protecting public health and safety. And it does say that sometimes those two clauses do come into conflict. And then they do, the federal court rises up to help resolve such things, and the Supreme Court is the ultimate arbitrator. Now, what are you covering? Oh, was I? Well, if I was covering my eyes, I apologize. I'm not hiding, and that's all I put in there. And there's so much more about that topic. And I'm going to get this off here now, and I'm going to come back on the screen. Well, I don't know. I'll leave this up for a minute until Garrett gets mad, and then I'll take it off and be whole screen again. But I wanted to leave it up long enough if anybody wants to. I'm assuming anybody's that interested. It's just one of those things I've thought about and talked about for a long time. I told a story, or sort of attempted to, the other day about one of the cases that came up probably been 15 to even 20 years ago. And I was sitting in my car or driving from point A to point B when I was going back to college in the late 90s or early aughts. And it was a time when the courts had ruled in Texas that you couldn't have sponsored prayer at a ball game unless you wanted to share it with all other religions. Because they ruled it as a separation issue, but they also said it's not in this country. One religion shouldn't have the right to force another religion to, always be subject to their rules or their laws or their prayers, I guess. And so they went out to the schools in Texas where, if you know anything about football in Texas, it's football's king down there, or at least you'd think so. And the question to the students was, what do you think about prayer at high school football games? And should it be allowed? Should it not be allowed? And there was some mixed answers, but most of the answers down there at that particular school or schools was that yes, prayers should be allowed. And overwhelmingly, in fact, 100% of the students who offered up what their religious beliefs were, or the basic religion, was Christianity. And they thought that there should be, and they said this, a Christian prayer before every ball game. And they asked the question, well, what about other religions? I mean, what if you have Hindu students here, or Jewish students, or even Muslim students? And almost to a T, all the students, and these are high school students, bear that in mind, but all the students said that they didn't think that other prayers should be, that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't happen. That other religions didn't really have a place there. Or they said, sure, they can pray, they can bring in people and they can have prayers, or say a chant or something that that they may do in their particular house of worship, as long as our preacher got to say had the last word and got to pray at the end. And that just always stuck with me, because I'm not sure that's freedom of religion. I think that is. I mean, they were willing to let them speak, but only if they got the last word. And somehow that always set wrong with me as being not quite the letter of the intent of the law, or I want to say that. But so anyway, that always kind of bothered me. And I've always had mixed feelings about that. I'm not sure there's any other country. Mike and Donnie, you can tell me, do ball games and football games and that sort of thing, do they always have a prayer before the event? A lot of American sports do. And I don't have a problem with that if they do open up a certain amount of fairness, or if they make it clear that it's not compunctual. Compunctual? That's the right word? Help me, Carol. That it's not, you're not compelled to participate, I guess. We were asking for a chapel at work, and they said no. Compulsory. Thank you, Carol. I knew there was, keep my teacher in here to keep me straight. That's interesting, Mike. I wonder if that meant that the answer to that would be no for anybody, or a particular belief, or did they expound on that? I mean, I kind of get that in a way, but I'd like to know. But I would like to hear, your thoughts, and because I'm inviting you all of you to join in. And now I can't think of what I was trying to say, but it's about you, Mike. Oh, I just wondered if you could fill us in a little bit for, why that was asked for, if that was any particular reason, or because you guys spend long hours there, or something like that. No, for all religions, that's why they said it. They left religion out of work and politics where I work. Well, I kind of agree, honestly. But I'm trying not to do that, so shut up, Tim. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to agree or disagree. I'm just trying to figure out how the people, what you guys think about it. You know, I'm trying to give this reasonable thought here and say it correctly. I don't want to burn too many bridges, and maybe everybody's already gone because this is the quietest I've seen this crowd in a while. Maybe I finally picked the wrong topic. Carrot's here. He's just been quiet. You, Brenda, and Mike maybe all slept. Well, Carol's still here, I think. And this isn't mandatory discussion either. I mean, you're welcome to. What is my question? What is your opinion of things like church or prayer in the workplace, prayer at schools? There are people down here that want to blame all the evils of our society today on the fact that, in their words, we removed religion from schools because of that separation of church and state thought idea. And there are some others who don't feel that way. And I'm sure there are other religions that probably think, well, gee, nobody ever asked us. So I'm just looking for opinions. That's all I'm asking, to have discussion about it. Well, that's a good point. Blue changed our Canadian anthem because it was offensive because it wasn't ginger. Wait a minute. I don't know if that's funny or if that's if that's a point, Mike. I'm not sure how to take that. Most people can steal away for a quiet moment. That's still allowed in schools. Nobody is not allowed to pray in school. The rulings are that it's just not supposed to be a school function that everybody is supposed to go to and attend. I've experienced more prejudice in the workplace for being a Christian, not to pray, not to share faith. Well, okay. And singled out. I hear a lot of Christians say that. I'd like to know if they did that to other religions. No, tell me, Mike. Explain. I think I get it, but I don't want to offend you if I'm getting it wrong. Blue changed our Canadian anthem because it was offensive, because it wasn't gender neutral. They changed our Canadian anthem song. They wanted to make it. They wanted to make it more neutral, so they took God and country out and son's commands. Oh, I didn't. I'll have to go back. I guess I can't find a copy that has that in there. All the times I've heard it sang at sporting events or even at Disney World years ago, I don't remember that part, so I'll have to look that back up. Maybe I haven't heard the old version enough. Oh, I didn't mind. This world. Oh, yeah, sure, this world is biased. It's biased towards whoever is, I will say in power, but I'm going to say whatever the greatest population is. Absolutely. Too many other things to worry about. That's okay. That's an opinion. Living in the Bible Belt, it's a topic you hear a lot. I don't know about everywhere else in the country. I don't know. As I work in a public school, we do not lead or promote prayer. I think that is appropriate. That said, I like for children to feel free to discuss their own faith traditions, for example. And I would tend to agree with that. I think there should be fair and free give and take on those topics. I mean, if our children aren't going to learn about each other's differences, religions, beliefs, then where are they in school? Where are they going to learn it? But religion isn't as religious in Canada. You know, I've been to a lot of events, and I bet I could count on one hand how many times I've ever heard anything other than um, a Christian prayer. And if I did, it might have been Jewish. But beyond that, I'm not sure I ever have. And I'm not saying that to make a point there. I'm just saying that in my recollection, I can't. And I would remember something like that because that's the kind of thing I pay attention to and have most of my life. So yeah, I'm sure it is, Garrett. But and you're gonna have to come back here to see what I'm talking about. There's nothing here. I mean, you don't see there's Catholic churches here, obviously. If you get in big cities, you'll see a synagogue, and there's actually a Hindu center here, and I'm sure there's a mosque here too somewhere. But a few years ago, a group tried to start a mosque in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and you would have thought they were trying to open up a child pornography warehouse or something. I mean, the uproar was horrendous, and they took them to court. They had to take them to court. Well, the opposition took them to court 2 or 3 times. I mean, they bought property and had everything in place, and then people found out about it, and they were just up in an uproar, and that's what you run into back here. Oh, there is, Brenda. When did that go in? I did not know that. I got to a point, if I went to somebody else's church, I may not have the same beliefs, but I would be respectful in their church. And I think that's fair, and I think that's how we should act. I don't know if anybody's paying attention or even cares about my name changes, but tonight I put in differential bear, and I actually looked that up to make sure I was correct, and that actually means to, be respectful even if you disagree. That's cut down in a hillbilly nutshell, but that's basically how it is. Next time we're up there and I'm with you, you'll have to show me that, Brenda, because I did not know that was up there. That's interesting. Diana G, I work for Catholic nuns, and no one cares what faith you are, where, and if you pray. That's interesting too, Diana. Does everyone that's there? So I take it you don't have to be Catholic to work there or to be cared for there. Would that be a fair assumption? Each child makes a me poster in which they share photos, traditions, etc. These are posted all year. So one student's poster may say, Jesus loves me on it. Another's may show their EID photos. That's a good idea. Mike, yes, it's great for us to learn about each other and be respectful. Well, if they didn't catch some flack about it, honestly, I'd be surprised. But I'm glad to know it's there. I mean, I'm glad to know that. Okay, I should have realized that. That's. I'd have to look that up to say it correctly, but okay. I mean to explain it, but Mike, that's an interesting point because I've always thought that it was being interesting. What a dull place this world would be if we all just learned one thing and never bothered to learn anything else about anything. Okay, I realize I haven't been up there a lot in the last few years, so I didn't know it was there. That's cool because it sure wasn't there when you and I grew up there. Or if it was in somebody's back room and probably hidden. And you guys may think I'm making that up, but that's just how it was. And honestly, I'm glad it's not anymore. That's good to know. Which is the kind of thing that happens up there. They built after we left up there in Johnson City, they built a huge or a large medical center, training facility, and also attached to the VA Medical Center. And in fact, a lot of people call it the VA Medical Center. But anyway, all that hospital work brought in a lot of diversity compared to what it was when Brenda and I grew up. Also destroyed a lot of prime land putting cookie cutter houses on it, but oh well. What are you going to do? It's okay to have a different opinion. We're only human. We just need to learn how to be respectful of one another. Wisdom comes from the north, folks. That's well put, Mike. Most of the residents are Catholic, and the staff are from all different religions: Baptist, Mennonite, Muslim, Jewish. That's interesting, Diana. That's. I think that's very good. I think if you cannot respect someone else, then you do not respect yourself. Wow. And donuts are what? Donuts are for everyone. Yes. Yes. Hot dang. Oh, that's a donuts are an important thing here, Garrett. That's just the way it is. They're more important on Saturday mornings, but they're still important. My friend who was from India and is Muslim used to work in a Catholic school there and felt loved and respected. See, I didn't know. I guess I grew up in a time when all the kids that I knew that went to, and I didn't know but a couple, mind you, and didn't realize even that there was a different place they went to school, but went to Catholic school when before 8th grade, I guess, or up to a certain age group there in that area. And they always told me it was the nuns taught them. So I just always assumed it was clergy that taught classes. Well, Diana, I personally think that's a good thing. Oh, here, Carol. Mike. You can be the pastor, and I'll be the collection boy, and then we'll go out and get donuts. That's another good point, Diana. I like that. That's another good. I like that a lot. That's a really good point right there. Because let me tell you something. And that's just that because there's nothing else in this country. We do love to argue about things like that. It'd be nice if we didn't have to argue about at least that. I don't know. Has anybody ever run into? Oh, surely I'm not the only one, but I would say blatant disregard or maybe irreverence or lack of respect for other faiths. And I've seen that mostly when it dealt with Middle Eastern, probably primarily Muslim, called many names and even talk about their prayer, their dedication to their daily prayers and that sort of thing, and made an issue out of that. And I always wondered why that seemed like such a big deal for some people. But I don't know, maybe if I was there, I would have known why. Mike says, one of my buddies is at work as a Muslim. I asked him to bring me into a Muslim church. And we were going to go before they had free food there. So I thought I would go check it out. Tell you what, Mike, that's another really good point, because there's nothing that'll bring most sinners to the church quicker than free food. And I'm being facetious. So I agree with you about anti-Christian sentiment. We have it here too. However, there are so many advantages to living in a liberal college town that I wouldn't want to live elsewhere. That's a good question, Mike. Do you know if that would you be allowed to go into the main hall or the main prayer hall, or would you have to maybe stay in a certain area? I don't know, because I do know that. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me or tell us. People are narrow-minded and closed-minded, I think, Diana. They do need to learn. People, I don't know at what point in time people in this country sometimes seem to want to turn that switch off that says, I'm done. I've learned all I want to learn, and I don't want to know anymore. I don't care about that stuff. I don't want to know that the ecosystem really exists, or that nature plays a role in what we do, or how other churches feel about certain issues. I mean, because they just shut down, and that's the end of that. And I don't really understand, and maybe not even religious. It's just educational. They don't want to learn about education. They don't want to go to museums. Okay, Mike, but you could go. That's interesting. That's, I think, beneficial. I think I've said this before, Carol, but maybe not in here. One of the things I thought was great, and Brenda probably, I think, would agree with me, is when I came back to college, our girls were, just in elementary school, and then middle school, and then high school, and we lived in married student housing. And of course, being attached to the university, that meant that there were people from all over the world that lived there. Hey, Amy, welcome in. Oh, no problem. You're always welcome anytime. Doesn't matter. I'm not punctual. I'm not going to make you go out and write an essay or anything for being late. I will not be late to class. Oh, Carol, I'm glad you brought. Yeah, Amy, you were supposed to. We decided that you were probably out getting us donuts, right, guys? Well, I thought it was. And I mean, that also was reflected in the kids they went to school with through high school. And I know for like Jennifer's Jennifer had Korean friends and Indians friends and black friends, mixed race friends. Kelly had one of Kelly's early on. One of Kelly's best friends was Korean, um, and she used to go down and hang out with them because she was actually helping them learn English, and at least that was kind of what happened. And so, the Korean mom, would make her kids, afternoon snacks or something that they would traditionally have it in Korea. And so Kelly she got to experiment and learn all about other foods. That may be why she likes sushi so much now. I mean, I know sushi's a Japanese thing, but she fell right into that sort of thing. But they really they enjoy. I mean, I think in the long run, I think that really benefited both of them. Please, somebody give her some chocolate. Wait a minute. You sent me to the store to pick up groceries. Why didn't you get something chocolate? Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and set this ground rule. If Amy didn't get donuts, we're not gonna insist she go back out tonight and get some. Okay. I grew up in a very white Christian area. It was a nice childhood, but I didn't learn much about other people's cultures, religion, or lack thereof, etc. Not how I wanted to raise my own. So did I, Carol. And when you get right down to it, the only when I was growing up, the only kids of color, and I will say because there was Filipino or two kids that played ball with us and and local black kids. I didn't know anybody, no kid my age that was black or of any other race other than my own growing up until I started playing baseball. And even then, I didn't go to school with any until I was in the seventh grade. And like I say, then there was a little bit of diversity at the bigger school that was near town that, or in Jonesboro, which actually seems like an odd place now. Oh, Chucky was Muslim. Okay. You didn't bring the donuts and you were tardy. Can we at least all get 10 bonus points? Oh, yes. Can we? Maybe I could get a head start that way. That's a good idea. I'm glad you brought that up, Carol. Yeah, she still does. Kelly got a job working at a Japanese restaurant after she got out of school, and um, the now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, and she hung out there, and after work, and they started closing the place down. Sometimes the sushi chefs would fix the workers there some extra stuff, they cooked food for everybody before the shift started. And they had actually, she had a Kelly roll for a while that was a sushi roll that she uh, got the sushi chefs to make. And they named it, and it was actually on their board of items you could pick out for a while. I forgot about the sweet rice. Who'd she teach to do that? Oh, I can't even think of their names now. At the workplace or at the neighbors? I do remember. I do remember her talking about that, but I can't remember when and where. Okay, that's what I thought, and then I backed up. Well, anybody else got a thought or two before we move on and probably start winding down a little bit, if you can say that? Oh, Jolly Ranchers. I don't know, Amy. I appreciate you offering them to her, but she gets on a chocolate jag. She won't hardly. You can't sway her much. Oh. You got anything to say? Huh? You got anything to say? You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Okay. I guess he's through. What do you consider a good gummy bear? I didn't think you liked gummies. She's never been a big gummy fan. Now, me, on the other hand, I really, really, really like those strawberries and raspberry things that the gummy bear company makes from Germany, Arbro or Harbo, whatever it is. Yeah, that brand. I got turned on to those things at Disney World at the Germany Pavilion. I kind of like the sour ones too, as far as just straight gummies. Carol says, I think everyone can pray silently at any time. We have 10 minutes of quiet time after lunch. It's for reading, drawing, or resting, but it can just as easily be used for silent prayer. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if anybody else has been. Tina might. I'm not sure anybody else is old enough to remember this. That's not a dig at Tina. I just know she's a lot closer to my age. And Brenda might remember this. I don't know if you were there or not. When I was in elementary school, we had regular visits from the traveling tent show revival. I mean, practically. And they came in, they showed up with these boxes full of Bibles, and everybody in school this was required. There was no getting out of this. And you had to go sit through I'd have to say a sermon, and then you were expected to memorize church scriptures and passages. And the more you memorized, the nicer the Bible you would get when you were finished. And I don't know how many people still did that. Yeah, our high school had a Bible club, didn't they, Brenda? I know that's what you're thinking. Yeah, that was back in the 70s, so. But then again, the 70s were kind of rampant with rebellion and hell raising, I guess. I don't know. Does anybody else ever remember something like that where they came into your class or came into your school and had a big assembly, and everybody there was, expected to recite not poetry, scripture. Well, some scripture's poetry, and like Psalms, for example. And then the more you learn, the more you got. I mean, you could get anything from a New Testament, and that might have been a give me up front. I can't remember. All the way up to this really elaborate, gold edged Bible pages and leather bound and that kind of thing. If you learned enough, there's always a couple of kids that got one of those, during a school year. I don't know when they stopped doing that. Probably up until, I almost want to say they were still doing it when I left that school and went on to school in the 7th grade. Moved to a different school. I would. We get people that do that on the street corners around here too, and they hand out Bibles and they preach on the corners. Oh boy, I tell you what, I was ready to hit a couple of guys at one time at UT because they were there spread out, and they were just waylaying the college, the women on college campus. I mean, calling them everything that you could imagine short of, mama's favorite child. And I mean, some of them were horrible, and it was all in their mind in a way to convert or bring people over to their side. And they were handing out, little green New Testaments. But some of them, hey, Don, welcome in. But some of them are really cruel to the women. I mean, they were just, I'm not sure why they weren't just as cruel to the men or the boys, but they really picked on the women more than the men in that regard. As if, all original sin, I suppose, was blamed on them. And maybe that was the crux of it. I don't know. But I know it really made me mad. After what I heard, I didn't think they should be allowed on campus. And I have to imagine, well, I missed something. Carol said something up here. Diane also said she remembered something. Oddly, when I went to Catholic school in the 70s, we went to daily mass, but we never used any of our school day to pray. It seems like a tuition-based religious school should have prayer time. Well, yeah, a religious-based a tuition-based religious school, I'm surprised they didn't too. And that's not the same thing as a church or a state-funded school or a public school. And they're and around here they do that. That's a big. They actually emphasize that a lot when they're, trying to talk people into coming to the different religious-based schools in this area. If you go there and visit, they're going to tell you how much prayer time a day and how many Bible classes they'll be taking over the course of their time at high school and that kind of thing. So they do make a big deal out of it here. Brenda doesn't remember that at all. Wow. Well, you didn't go to school your whole career up there. Maybe it was just our school. I mean, maybe they went around and depending on who was running the school, whether they got to do that or not. I don't know. I don't know who brought them in. I just know that we had them and it was like once a month because they would come in and ask who would learn verses and you had to. It seems to me like you had to be able to recite them. Somebody had to say you had done it. Your parents or the teacher, or your preacher from your church, and they had sheets and they would sign them off, and by that sheet and how many things you had signed off is what you got when they came around. Well, they do it a lot around the women's clinics, but they did it hard on campus too. Yeah, and you know what surprised me on a couple occasions that they brought women with them, very conservatively dressed, what we would call country church ladies. And sometimes they were meaner to the girls and the women there than the men were. I mean, it really surprised me. It kind of took me aback. Hey, Dave, welcome in the other Dave, Adventures by D. You tell him, Garrett. Just kidding. Boy, you backed out that fast. Dave, where you guys at today? You've been traveling, haven't you? Yeah, if you want to see Brenda turn up the mean, just keep at it, buddy. It's for your own good, Garrett. We need to keep men in line. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Absolutely. I do remember it, Brenda. You guys scare me. You only knew. Oh, yeah, Universal. That's where you guys were at. I guess you're still down there. And I'm assuming that's Florida. But knowing you guys, maybe it's California. I don't know. Where else do they have Universal anywhere else? Well, Diana, you might be right. I'm just really hesitant. I'm just not going to say that out loud in public. Garrett and I might say it together, but I'm not going to say it in front of everybody else. But I will tell you this: some of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life between like school students uh, were between two girls at school. So, there's something to that. Oh, you guys are back in the ATL, huh? The line from National Treasure, if any of you guys were National Treasure fans. And, I think they say it twice in the movie, but Nicolas Cage is talking about, the thing, why he was wanting to find the treasure and what it meant to his family or the American people or the people of the world. And he's just rambling on kind of about, like things that are in the Constitution. And Diana Kruger, his counterpart there, said something like, he said, people really don't talk like that anymore. But he said, yeah, but they think like it. And Dave, I was going to comment on that because Dave said the FLA and the ATL, but they don't even use FLA anymore. I don't think it's just FL. And then I think at least the post office uses 2 letters. And that doesn't mean anything, Dave, except that you and I probably have done that more than most people in here because that's used to be the common abbreviation. Yeah, we haven't discussed that tonight. I meant to bring that up. It's nice here, Dave. It's cool, and I can't really tell if it's the smoke was supposed to be here. I don't know. I couldn't. It's not strong enough to smell anything. If it is, or thick enough, I don't think it's made it here yet. If it is, it's very high. So that brings me up to a whole nother topic. I mentioned this yesterday to a couple of folks in here. I'm thinking about running for president, and I'm going to run on the platform of building a giant wall of fans that are blowing our air back and blowing the Canadian smoke back up to the Canadian prairies. If anybody wants to join me on that, I think, and then we're going to get the Canadians to pay for it. Well, maybe if we get to Florida, you might get to go to Universal because it's a lot cheaper than Disney World is now. Oh, that's too bad. Amy, was that the National Special Olympics? Because I heard somebody talking about that opening up, I thought. Most of them had Valley Martin. Well, a couple of them did, yeah. You should go a bit cheaper than Disney, less stressful. That's an interesting way to put it. I was watching the news this morning, and Good Morning America, and Robin Roberts was talking about going somewhere to open up a Special Olympics this weekend, and it seems like that was in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I hope they can reschedule it too. That's too bad. And when you say canceled, you mean completely, not just a couple of days knocked off, Amy? It's a state, okay. Well, I'll know tomorrow because if I watch the news in the morning, she'll be talking about whether she got to do it or not. Maybe no, I'll take that back. She's going to Germany for the European Special Olympics or national. I'm not sure international. I'm not sure exactly who all's there, but yeah, I really hope they can. I hope they can figure out a way to do that again. Okay, guys, I'm going to start shutting down because it's 10 minutes early, sort of. I know I go longer than that a lot, but my backside is not feeling all that great tonight, and I'm just going to get off of it and sit on something much softer or stretch out for a little while. Thanks, everybody, for joining in the conversation, and please don't hesitate to send me a note, complain, collaborate, tell me what you thought. If it was too much, if it was not enough, if you think it was worthwhile, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Oh, thanks, Garrett. I think I'll pass on that if that's okay. Did you pick up on that, Mike? I'm going to let you deal with him because you're a lot bigger than I am and a lot stouter and probably can do more damage. Well, I kind of feel like Universal's been sitting down there waiting, playing second fiddle or stepchild to Disney World all this time, and now they're taking advantage of it. And Disney's doing it to themselves. So, all right, thanks, Don. And the end of that, Brenda, is it's such sweet sorrow, especially if it's a donut shared by two. Thanks, Diana. And we appreciate it. We really do. I'm sure we've sent plenty of bad stuff up your all's way for years, so by all means. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I'd let y'all stay in here and chat all you wanted to, but I don't think I can do that. But anyway, I'll be back next week, I hope, and be here Saturday. I don't think Mark's going to be here. He's getting ready to go out of town and probably be taking care of that colt or that foal. And but I'm sure we'll find something to talk about. It'll probably be a squirrel chasing day. If anybody wants to come on and join me, just let me know. See you, Mike. Hey, yeah, Mike. If you and well, we can talk about it offline, but if you guys want to come in for a little bit, maybe bring Alex and let him talk about his glider trip, I'd love that. Anyway, bye.